welcome to another edition of Keeping It Real, and It's Just Movies production. I'm Chris Hyatt, and today we have Second Chance Theater, our New Year's Eve edition. We'll be taking a gigantic movie from 2010 and seeing if it actually did live up to the hype. Now, I know everyone's thinking I should be doing Avatar. I'm not doing Avatar because I know for a fact that it didn't live up to the hype. I know this. The reason why I know it is because it's James Cameron, and it's because the only way to have appreciated that movie is if you were to have watched it on an IMAX 3D screen, which I was not prepared to shell out $22 to do, nor do I have the proper TV to do it, and I'm not spending that kind of money to watch a moderately decent movie. So, I picked this year's next best big thriller, which is Inception. Now, for those who have not seen either Inception or the South Park episode parodying Inception, basically, Leonardo DiCaprio was hired to go inside some guy's dream to convince him to dissolve his father's company, and to do that, he's going to pull off an inception, which is planning an idea into someone's dream within a dream within a dream. That's 3 dream stages for those people keeping track. Now, conceptually, it works. I mean, if I had heard nothing else about this movie, if I had seen no clips, if I had not heard any of the actors, the concept alone would have been enough to get me to a movie theater to at least see it. Or to move to a site where one could watch such movies for free and watched it there. Unfortunately, I found out all the details in advance, and it kind of killed it for me at first, so my second chance basically was today. And no, it didn't live up to the hype. The CG was great. I love the computer-generated imagery, especially the oft-mentioned scene with Leonardo DiCaprio and what? I always forget her name. I always forget Gina McGuffin's name. Anyways, that scene with them in it, where everything starts exploding willy-nilly, great scene, great effect. It's just about the only thing in the movie that I really paid attention to. Now, Leonardo DiCaprio, great actor, allegedly. He is, but not as great as everyone thinks he is. He was great in Catch Me If You Can. I'll give you that. I think his best role was in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and not because he played a functional retard, but because it actually worked. And if I'm not mistaken, he got a nod for that at the Oscars when he was like 14. So, maybe that should be all the kinds of roles he plays. I don't know. But Ellen Page, yes, I remember Gina McGuffin's name. Ellen Page, who was also in X-Men of all movies, this is a great movie for her because it's a legitimate Hollywood production with legitimate acting, a halfway decent plot, great cast, but it gives room for her to shine because unlike Juno, which was written in like a weekend about a really stupid plot, I mean the plot for that movie was abysmally horrible. Ooh, high schooler gets pregnant and, bonds with her, because it's a surrogate setup and she falls with a surrogate dad. Ooh. I'm not impressed. It takes a lot more than that to impress me, especially for a movie of that level. A better movie of that level would have been Rushmore. And that was made almost 10 years before, and it was a superior movie. But I digress, because Inception is our target today. Now, for those who, and I'm not going to ruin it, but for those who want to know basically what this movie's about, if you were to take George Clooney's planning from Ocean's 11 and combine it with more or less the second half of The Matrix Reloaded, you would more or less get what we're doing in Inception. And that's kind of, it's a cheat. It's terrible. Yeah, I'll concede that. It's 2 different movies, vastly different plots, not even the same genre. I'll give it to you. But that being said, that's exactly what we're talking into. A highly complicated plan to break into somebody's mind and plant a dream sequence. And by the way, everything about the dream stages, all the reality, the rules of reality, exactly like the Matrix Revolutions, except for the fact that if you die in the dream, you don't necessarily die in real life. Even though that's basically how it should work from a scientific standpoint, that's not how they're doing. But I digress, and that's not the point. The point of it is, for a great concept such as that, they could have done it better. I mean, if you have Leonardo DiCaprio on board for anything, you could afford to take the extra couple of weeks probably to write something in that realm a little bit better. Now, that said, directing was good, cast selection was pretty good, plot was decent. The only reason why it was decent instead of good is because of the aforementioned death in Inception, because if you die in Inception, you either wake up or you end up in limbo, which basically means you're still alive, except for you're not in reality, which I'm not even going to go. Basically, you have to be on some kind of suspended animation drug or something to really comprehend this. Either that, or you'd have to have shelled out all the money for the high-def TV, the 3D, and the glasses. But on the whole, this movie was not nearly worth the hype. Same thing with Avatar. I have not seen Avatar. I likely never will until it comes to TV. But I am willing to bet money. In fact, you know what? I'll stake it right here. The next second chance theater that I will see will be Avatar. And I am going to put money up front right now that I am not going to be impressed by anything in that movie except for Sam Worthington, because I hear he's boss, and in person interviews he is boss, and the CG, because and that's even without the 3D, and that's even without IMAX, because I heard that the CG is apparently so good that it caused people to come out of the theaters with withdrawal and Pandora-like depression. So, we will, again, do that for next week, but as far as this week is concerned, for those who want the call on Inception, officially, it's overrated. It's not a bad movie, it's just overrated. And it's a little contrived. It's very contrived. In fact, my mom came down and she watched 5 minutes of this movie with me, and she said it was contrived. Well, she didn't say it was contrived. She said, quote, "This is stupid." Now, if my mom, having seen 5 minutes of this and not understanding what's going on, she's an intelligent woman. If she says it's stupid and she's only seen 5 minutes of it, and I can agree, and at that point I'd seen an hour and 1 minute of it, and I pretty much agreed with her. It's pretty stupid. I mean, great plot, just run off the rails, and it wasn't even by all the usual suspects either. The personal life stuff that Leonardo DiCaprio is going through in the movie had no bearing on this. It was almost like a I'm going to use Inception language. It was a subplot within the plot. I mean, and it's just, without ruining too much of this, the subplot it was in danger of overwhelming the real plot, which is a big problem for me. You can't do that in a real movie. The plot is the plot. All the sub stuff is there to enhance the main story, but not directly to take it over. And this movie had way too many sub-stories in it to take it over. If they wanted to do that, they should have structured it in such a way that it wasn't going to be this movie is about the job rather than all the other stuff that goes around. So, nice try, but it was a very good try. It was a very good try. It's just it didn't quite get there for me. What can you do? Anyways, next week, tune in. We will do, well, not next week because, again, we're still finding the time slot for this, but the next edition of Second Chance Theater, I might do that once a month. We'll see how it goes. But the next edition of Second Chance Theater will be Avatar, and we will see how it goes. And hopefully it will be better than advertised. Until then, until then, if you guys have suggestions, comments, whatever, send it to my Twitter. I am at HyattCH. That's at HYATTCH. Or at It's Just Movies. Literally at ITSJUSTMOVIES. And we will always. And also, if you have comments, and they're good comments, there's a chance that they could be put on the air. Whoops, my computer just kind of faded out on me. That's weird. Wake up. There we go. So, yeah. Comments, concerns, suggestions, you send it there. The best of the best will get read out on the show live. And until then, this is the last broadcast of 2010. 5 successful shows later, 3 interviews, 2 shows, and I will see you guys in, well, about a week. Till then, Happy New Year's. This has been Second Chance Cinema, part of Keeping It Real. It's Just Movies Production. I'm Chris Hyatt. Deuces.